welcome. Here we are today at the site of our Heritage Days tour at the cemetery with the beautiful name Until the Day Dawn. That's correct, there is no S in the end of dawn. The name comes from a biblical reference in the second book of Peter, chapter 1, which from the King James translation is in part, "Take heed as unto the light that shineth in a dark place until the day dawn, and the day star arise in your hearts." The land for the cemetery was given to the town of Angelica by our founder, Philip Church. The Church family also gave the land for a beautiful park circle, as well as the land for the churches and public buildings surrounding it. These were gifts from Philip Church's plan for our community in 1805. The cemetery is now owned and maintained by the town of Angelica. This year's historic tour commemorates the 150th anniversary of the beginning of the Civil War in 1861. There are over 100 veterans of that conflict buried here. These include cavalrymen, musicians, surgeons, sharpshooters, officers, and enlisted men. Also buried here are members of the Women's Relief Corps who aided veterans after the war ended. Another famous person buried here is Reverend Calvin Fairbank, an abolitionist who spent many years in Kentucky prisons before the Civil War for his activity freeing slaves. The ladies representing the Women's Relief Corps and the U.S. Sanitary Commission will offer lemonade before you exit the cemetery. Please enjoy your tour and your time here at Heritage Days.
Hi, I'm Calvin Fairbanks. I'm a United Methodist minister that was ordained, fully licensed in 1842. Just a few years after the Angelica United Methodist Church had been established in 1837. I'm buried up along the upper end of the cemetery after having spent many years as an abolitionist helping free 47 slaves and spending 17 years in prison for my actions.
My name is William Uptegrove. I don't have much to really tell you. I was born in 1847 to a mother who was a French immigrant, but she was gone at a very early age in my life. By the time I was 4 or 5, she had left. I'm not sure if she was deported or simply just left. After that, it was me and my brother and my dad. Dad was unable to take care of us both, though, and sent us to 2 different families. Not a great start for me. As far as my Civil War experience goes, well, I tried to enlist 4 times, but despite trying, I was just too young. Finally, when I was 18, I enlisted in the 194th New York Infantry Company E, just down the road in Angelica. That was April 11th, 1865. We never even made it to Elmira, though. We were mustered out on May 3rd of that same year. Life continued to be full of frustrations for me, though. I was married for a short while, but she left me. But what could you think? We were living in a 1-room shack at the time. People scoffed at it, but it was my own and I had built it. Someone took a great photograph of me in my house, and I always carry it because it reminds me of home. When it was published in a book, they called it Billy Upgrove's Mansion. Here, have a look. I enjoyed having that picture, and I think I look pretty snappy then, in spite of the editor's caption. Today, you might call me eccentric, but at that time, the good people of Angelica sat in harsh judgment of me. The busybodies claimed that I was a drunk. Their idea of saving me was to put me in the poorhouse. That was no idle threat, and I wound up there thanks to the Commissioner of the Poor. That was just before the men's dorm burned down around 1918 or 20, somewhere there. I swore I would never go back, though, but sure enough, in 1923, I returned to the home, and I died there in 1924 at the age of 77. So it turns out living life on my own terms may have not been that bad. Even in death, though, I could not get any respect. My grave was just down over this ridge. But they moved me to behind the mausoleum. But I must say that the people there is quite a higher class of company than where I was. Thank you for visiting, and please stop again.